Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Gianluca Masi speaking on the behalf of the Virtual Telescope Project, and it's my very pleasure to be here tonight to share once again something special happening right now in the night sky. So we are really ready to share live images of potentially hazardous asteroid 42, 44, 82 to 2008 DG5, and for this I want starting sharing the console of our robotic telescope. I already asked our robotic telescope to collect images because the weather, while the sky is clear, there is a lot of moonlight out there, as you can imagine, and this is interfering with the observation, and there is also a very hazy sky, to be honest. So let me share the imaging console. Here it is. So we are connected right now, at least virtually, to one of our robotic telescopes. As always, I want to thank the technological partners of the Virtual Telescope Project, and they are Software Bisque, C-Web and Telescope Live, and also all the media all around the planet which featured this live feed, making possible for you to learn about it and eventually joining this live streaming. So right now, as you can see, we are already seeing the asteroid. I will tell you a few things about this interesting rock. You know, right now we have visited by this, I must say, relatively large asteroid, 42, 44, 82, 2008 DG5, a so-called potentially hazardous asteroid. While I am speaking, while you are here, this rock is basically at its minimum distance from the Earth. It's 3.5 million kilometers, more or less 9 times the average lunar distance. So this is an absolutely safe, I want to underline distance, so really no risks at all for our own planet Earth, but still a short distance on as for considering typical distances from asteroids. First of all, I want to also explain why we call asteroids like this potentially hazardous ones. It's just a precise definition. Every asteroid larger than about 140 meters and moving on an orbit bringing it closer than 7.5 million kilometers from us is formally flagged as a potentially hazardous asteroid. Of course, this is not saying at all that an impact is imminent. It is just saying that the rock is large enough and coming close enough to suggest us to keep an eye on it. This is why you have a number of these objects. And this one, the 2008 DG5 potential hazardous asteroids, is significant as for its size. Its diameter is interesting. Perhaps you have already read this, and I want to remind you that this object has a size between 320 meters and 700 meters, so this is quite large. We really don't want an asteroid of this size hitting our planet. This object has been discovered in February 2008 by our colleagues at the Catalina Sky Survey, and as I said and I repeat, this object is right now approaching its minimum distance from us. Unfortunately, clouds are really getting stronger and stronger in our sky, so I suspect that soon we will see no longer the asteroid, but at least I'm happy that we are having some images. The telescope is taking images of this object. You can see the asteroid like a sharp dot of light here, while the trails you see on the background are stars. Why we are seeing this? We are seeing this because the asteroid, of course, as every object in our solar system, is orbiting around the Sun, and being also pretty close, we have clear evidence of its motion in the sky, basically against the stars. So I asked our advanced telescope to track specifically at the motion, at rate motion of the asteroid. So the telescope is tracking the asteroid. So stars are apparently moving on the background, and you can see here how the trails now have such a variable brightness, because during the exposure, 2-minute exposure, the thickness of clouds increased, just acting as a stronger and stronger filter. This is why the trail has not an homogeneous constant brightness, and the asteroid is now so faint. It is just the clouds just entering the sky. So at this point, for obvious security reasons, I will just wait for the next image to arrive. About 1 minute left, then I will have to close the observatory. While I am in Rome, my friends, the telescopes are about 120 kilometers north from here, in the beautiful landscape of Maremma, Tuscany, under the best skies we have in Italy. Even if with such a very bright moon, those bright skies are basically irrelevant right now. So unfortunately, I do expect a very bright image, because we have plenty of clouds just spreading the lights of the moon, but at least we could enjoy and still see in this very likely last image an hint of the potentially hazardous asteroid 2008 DG5. So as I said, right now it's at about 3.5 millions of kilometers, and its relative speed relative to the Earth is a bit more than 7 kilometers per second. And having an asteroid of that size coming that close, it's not frequent. Something like this is happening basically one time on average, one time every year, more or less. So it means that as you can see now, we really don't have the asteroid anymore. Let me ask the system to upload an image I captured earlier, so at least we have the object here. Potentially hazardous asteroids are, first of all, asteroids. So let me ask the system, the robotic telescope, to park, and because I want to close the observatory. And while I wait for this, I want to remind you that potentially hazardous asteroids are like near-Earth asteroids, basically asteroids. And we know about 1 million asteroids, mainly between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, the so-called asteroid belt. And as I say, they are more or less 1 million, quite a lot, I would say, of course. And that said, I also want to remind you that of 1 million of asteroids just living, as I said, mainly far away in the asteroid belt, we have almost 400,000 near-Earth asteroids. So of about 1 million, just, I would say, 40,000 of them are on orbits, bringing them in the inner solar system. And of those 40,000 objects, and we call them near-Earth asteroids, near-Earth objects, because they can reach the inner solar system when the Earth is. So of those 40,000, I want to remember that about 11,000 are potentially hazardous objects. We really don't want an asteroid hitting our planet. This is why we are looking for those objects. There are very productive telescopes just surfing the skies every clear night in order to hopefully find every asteroid approaching our planet, and in order to learn about the risk of a collision, and in case we can hopefully fix the problem, we can mitigate the impact risk. And we tested so well that with the DART mission, the deflection of an asteroid. You might remember the very successful DART mission by NASA, and now we are waiting for the ERA mission from ESA on its journey to go there, just visiting again the asteroid Dimorphos, the moonlet of Didymos, and to learn more about the outcome after the impact. So I'm just going to close the observatory. As I said, let me just give me 1 minute or so to be sure that I will not risk my telescope, friends. I really don't want this kind of risk. Okay. Happy that at least we could have a few images. There is also some dust from the Sahara Desert, just filling the sky and likely making the situation even worse. Yes, the asteroid is way too faint to be seen by naked eye, and a few days ago it was a bit brighter because the geometry between us, the asteroid, and the Sun was more favorable, and it was easy to image the object even with very small telescopes. So I actually recommended to many friends to try that. I'm sorry that we had to close, but as I said, the weather did not cooperate. I mean, at least we could have some live images just at the very beginning for a few minutes. So the images we saw at the very beginning were live ones with the object showing pretty well. But now the cloudy coverage is basically complete, and I had to close the observatory. So my friends, I hope that this quick view on potentially hazardous asteroid 42, 44, 82, 2000 DG5 was at least of interest for you. I strongly suggest you to keep an eye on our YouTube channel. Every time something special is coming, eclipses, meteor showers, asteroids, comets, whatever, we schedule this kind of live feeds, and you can learn all this following our YouTube channel. You can also join our Facebook page to get the same information from there. And at the very end, I also want to remind you that, as you see, we do not ask for any money to people worldwide to join this, because we believe that everyone on this planet has the rights to look around and enjoy our common universe. But at the same time, this does not mean that we don't have to pay bills and so on. So you are always invited to consider supporting us. You can donate whatever you want. Just visit www.virtualtelescope.eu/donate. This way you will help us keeping this project alive and keeping our live feeds coming. We have been doing this now for almost 19 years. We have been featured by the most important media worldwide, by the most important newspapers, press agencies, just to remind how those are trusting our project, and our reputation is so huge. So thank you very much, friends. I'm looking forward to share more of our universe with you, so keep an eye on the virtual telescope project, but even more, keep an eye up there and enjoy the night sky. Gianluca Masi, Virtual Telescope Project. Bye bye, good night.